What's poppin', YouTubers? Eastern York's finest, hosted by Mike. Missing a tooth?
Yeah.
Anyway, what's going on? This conversation is going to be something that I've had conversations with individuals, and some people are like, yo, I'm surprised you didn't post a topic up about this or that. Everybody know I'm big into propaganda and conspiracy. I guess I'm considered a conspiracy theorist. I just look at shit for what it is, and I notice that things align a certain way, and I just go along with what it's aligned with, and I verbally, state my status and on what I believe things to be. Now, I know this guy's been, assassinated for a few weeks now. Now, I know I talk a lot about, I'm very derogatory on what I say about certain groups of people of different backgrounds when I'm upset or if somebody bothers me or whatever. Whether I say taco biter, chink, nigga, jigaboo, spick, hunky, crack, or whatever. If somebody happens to be of that specific race or whatever and I feel disrespected, I'm going to speak on it. It doesn't matter. I am an equal opportunist. I don't consider myself a bigot or racist. I just call shit for what the fuck it is. Bigotry, hypocrisy, and racism been here before me, and guess what? Unfortunately, this may shock you guys, but it's gonna be here way after my fucking bones have disintegrated. Because let's face it, as long as there's a certain group of people that run the world is on this planet is always gonna be full of evil, sadistic racism and genocide and whatever else. That's just human nature. You have good and bad in every fucking race. Whether you're a taco biter, a jigaboo, a spick, a fucking kite, a sauerkraut, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. You have good and bad in everything and everybody. That's just life. Even your animals can have dark secrets to them, or insects. If anything has fear, it has love. So with that basically being said, I just want to, spew my thoughts on what I think of the Charlie Kirk situation. Some of you may or may not know, I'm not really a big TV guy. I do watch movies every once in a while, but I'm not a big TV dude. I sit back and I watch Whatnot and YouTube and do a lot of reading. I read. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really big on social media like that, and I don't stay up on current events on this, that, and the third. I do get these little notifications on my phone, I think it's called something news or some shit. I get that every once in a while. Half the time I don't even look at it. And this Charlie Kirk, believe it or not, I never even really heard his fucking name. And I think it took me 2 or 3 days after he was assassinated to realize that he was who he was. Then I watched a couple of videos. Now I have to say that some of the things he did say about ethnic people happen to be true, because let's face it, for instance, I'm gonna go about this whole Mississippi River thing with all these bodies being found out. I personally think that it's somebody in law enforcement or a group of individuals that are raping and doing things to these people's bodies. I don't just think it's a random serial killer. I think that the person is in law enforcement or something. Somebody or somebodies are dumping these bodies in these rivers that now these bodies are consistently coming up. And then with this whole Mississippi thing, around the time when Charlie Kirk passed away, was killed, you got these black brothers who were hung from trees, 2 of them in the same city, which is ironically weird. And they're trying to say it was a suicide. Let me tell you something about black folks. 95 to 98% black people do not commit suicide. We don't do that. It's not even about it being a religious thing. It's just that, niggas don't kill themselves. Sometimes, with drugs and shit like that, but the highest suicide rate in the world, let alone this country, are committed by Caucasians. I'm not, sitting here pulling rank or making fun. It is what the fuck it is. Statistically, we all know that niggas kill more niggas than anybody. I think that a lot of gangbangers, drug dealers, and just regular idiotic motherfuckers from the hood that, what the fuck you looking at me, nigga? You dissing me? I just think a lot of people like that are just undercover Ku Klux Klan members. And I'm going to say, because you're doing their job for them. Motherfuckers are sitting here killing each other over a piece of street or a block that don't belong to them. and they go into jail for the rest of their life, and then they got the white man telling them what the fuck to do. And then when they're inside the system, they become even more savage, and they're still controlled by the white man. So it's like, I don't understand this shit, man. I really don't get it. Now, we all know that there's a lot of groups out here that talk hate. This may shock a lot of you guys, but I happen to agree with a lot of the things that the Israelites speak on. I've sat there for hours, and I've stood there for hours when they were in Harlem, because most of the time I used to see them downtown Brooklyn back in the 90s. And then I used to always see them like in Harlem, and on occasion even around Jamaica, Queens, in the 90s. I very rarely see them that much in the 2000s, but I've seen them plenty of times in the 90s, all over big shopping mall areas. And I've always heard their message, and I agree with a lot of things they say. Sometimes, you can agree with the message, but not the delivery. Sometimes you could, vice versa. So a lot of people, they spew hate, and a lot of people get offended and angry at what they're saying because, the truth hurts. Now, I have to agree with a lot of things they say because I happen to be a nigga from the hood. So there's a lot of things that they say I agree with, and there's a lot of things they say that I don't agree with. There's a lot of things that my wife and my kids say or do that I don't agree with, and vice versa. Shit, there's a lot of things I've done and I've said that I'm like, maybe I was wrong with that, and within myself. So that's just trial and error. There are things you are going to do and say yourself that you wish you could take back. And, sometimes, it is what it is. That's just part of fucking nature. It's part of being a creature of habit, so to speak. Now, I've heard some of the things that Charlie Kirk has said over the last couple of weeks. But like I said, I really had no idea who the fuck this guy was. I've heard the name, but it always went in one and out the other because it had no relevance to my, to my existence or my being. And I feel like any and everybody have a right, whether you want to spew hate or not, hate speech, whatever. You have a right to say what the fuck you want. You have a right to, every right everybody else have. A right to speak your fucking mind. This is supposedly a free country. I'm not going to hate on a man because he felt whatever the fuck he felt about black people. And I'm not going to hate on what Israelites and other people have to say about Jews and white people. I'm not going to. Because you could agree to disagree, and you could disagree to agree. Everybody have their own speculations on how things are. And everybody, have their own, status quo on what they think things should be and how things should be. That's just nature. That is just basically an entitlement all human beings have on this planet. Whether it's white entitled or not. It's just humans, and we happen to be humans. We come from different backgrounds, different parts of the world, speak different languages, eat different foods. We look different, but at the same time, we're still the same people under the fucking sun. Now, moving on to this Charlie Kirk situation, my thoughts on him, I don't really have much to think on him. I don't have any hatred or I don't have any sympathy or empathy for him in one way, shape, or form. I do know that mass majority of Caucasian, especially Caucasian women, who grow up in sadistic, evil households or grow up around clan members or people that are racist and just hate other ethnic groups, they all, about 90% of them grow up getting pimped out or getting ran trains on by those same groups that their grandpappy or fathers or even moms, grow up talking about and hating. And then half of them go into porn. Because let's face it, about 85% of Caucasian women in the porn industry or the sex industry, period, who are being exploited, happen to be from Middle America. Mass majority of them are from Middle America. Places like Ohio, Montana. All these, Utah. Mass majority of them are from these towns in Middle America. And it's funny how everybody sits back and they say how sad it is that his daughters, and it is true, it is sad that his wife, regardless of what she thinks or her standing about her man, whatever, he's still a human being. it is traumatizing for any human being to sit there, regardless of what their loved one believes in, to sit there and see their loved one get killed. Black people, we've done this and been through this throughout the stealing of this country by colonizers. And I have to say that it's funny how when it happens to some of them, it becomes real traumatizing and crazy. But then when it happens to us, it's like, oh, well, the nigger spoke too much. I mean, I hate this whole uneven ground shit. Like, when it benefits them, it benefits them. When it doesn't, they don't want to hear about it. I'm not going to stand here. Oh, I'm not going to sit here and say, ha ha, good for him. I don't know that man. I don't give a flying fuck about him or his family, to be quite honest, because he don't give a fuck about me or mine. Just like he don't know who I am. I didn't know who the fuck he was. I don't really give a fuck about whatever he spoke on or how he thought about this and that. I can care less. I can care less on his experience. I can care less on the experiences of how his daughters and his wife feel or felt about, him talking and going like this and then bang. Squirt, squirt, squirt. Boom. Charlie. I don't give a flying fuck. It happened to Malcolm X, and he happened to be a greater man. He was a greater man than the nation. That's why he was killed, for a lot of reasons. Did it ever occur to you how J. Edgar Hoover sat up there and talked about how he hated gays, and we all know he didn't like black folks, but we all know after he passed away, he was an in-the-closet queer, and he happens to have black blood in him. Like I said, nobody hates like family, right? And during his administration, he had so much leverage and so much shit on everybody. Did it ever occur to people why the fuck, when this asshole was in office, all these assassination attempts and assassinations under his command, and he so happened to die instead of being fucking convicted because he was a piece of shit? But anyway, to each his own, right? I for a long time, this country has been going backward, and I think mass majority of that started around 9/11. I have my own thoughts on false flagging and this, that, and the third. That's just me personally. This is just my personal thoughts into this. Me personally, like, all jokes aside, even though I anger, I don't hate anybody that don't hate me. I say taco biters a lot, or this and that. I do. There are a couple of groups of people I don't like, for my reasons, for my personal reasons. It has nothing to do with statistics. It has something to do with my personal attributes and reasons on why I feel a certain way about certain groups of individuals that I've encountered in my life, on why I dislike these people. For the same reason why a lot of people don't like blacks. And, when you are around a certain group of people, you just think that, oh, they're all misbehaved, fucking no manners having niggers or morenos or whatever the fuck. Because I know a lot of Dominicans, a lot of Hispanic people who happen to be black, just like I am. They just speak, they come from a different part of the world, and, they speak Spanish. But a lot of them don't like mass majority of niggers. I'm going to say niggers because, and as blacks, you got black folks and you got niggas. Then you got the ghetto jigaboos, which are the ones that do exactly what the system want them to do, and why the system treat all of us. They don't characterize us the way we put each other in categories. They just look at us all as a whole. You know what I mean? Like, they separate their white folk or their kinfolk from the trailer trash. But they won't do that to us, because at the end of the day, most of their trailer trash look just like them. So they won't put no rationalization and division on them like they would do us. So my thoughts on this whole thing, I think it's sad that anybody have to witness a loved one getting killed in front of them. Do I think he deserved it? I don't know that man enough to say what he deserves and what he doesn't deserve. But I think anybody that runs around teaching hate to any or speaking hate is blasphemy. I think it's disgusting. I think it's deplorable for anybody to have a social media platform to where you not only indulge but his hate message put so much out there that he was killed for it by his own people. I'm not going to sit here and say I think that kid who they're pointing a finger at did it. I don't know. I don't give a flying fuck. You know, I'm just happy that it wasn't a person of color that did it, because they've been trying to fight and start this agenda for a long time. And certain groups of people, whether you're white, black, or blue, if you don't go along with their narrative, you're like an enemy of the state. So the first thing that people behind the scenes do, the elite, Hollywood, or anybody in power, is sometimes they come at you with defamation. Like, they come at you just to discredit you, if you're lucky. Then they come at you to assassinate your character in a lot of ways. Like, come on, let's face it. They killed Michael Jackson because the motherfucker owned so much in Sony that when his contract was up, which it was up, he was gonna own so many shares of Sony that he was gonna be the majority shareholder. So what they did, they killed him off. Like, let's fucking face it. They used Conrad Murray to kill a motherfucker off. Bill Cosby is well known for not really particularly caring for Caucasian people. He was a black man, a powerhouse who made it up in the world his own way. He did it his own way, being a brother from the fucking hood, from the goddamn projects of fucking Philadelphia. South Philly at that. So every once in a while, even a guy who likes Jello pudding pops is going to say some real nigga shit. And when NBC was in trouble, he went out there and he tried to buy it. But we all know that Hollywood and the Jews and the whites really behind all this power tripping shit don't want niggas to have shit. Tyler Perry bent over and opened his mouth and got on his knees to do certain things to be in the power that he has. Coming from a black man that was homeless at one time, who just happens to now own his own shit in Georgia, who happens to own his own studio. I mean, come on. Let's face it. I'm not going to even go there. Pete Diddy, that's a whole nother situation. Like I said, you know, people consider me a conspiracy theorist. I just think I'm a guy who's smart enough to fucking read the conspiracies and see the theories behind what the government and powers that be do. But they want to switch it on us and put the narrative that, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm a person that has my own thoughts and theories on the conspiracy that you commit. But people are like, oh, well, this guy's a conspiracy theorist. He's one of them fucking nuts. Why is it that people like me are nuts? Because we think outside the box and we know better. You know what I'm saying? So, again, this whole thing on him, I mean, you know, look how many deaths and how much shit happened around the time when this guy passed away. But because he died in front of his little two white angels and his pure white angel wife, and he lost his life on stage, it's so horrendous. Like, they fucking gave this guy a goddamn coin. This motherfucking dude is not even decomposing in the ground yet, and they gave this nigga a coin. Where's Martin Luther King's coin? All he did was I mean, yeah, he did a lot of, we all know he fucked and did a lot of shit too. He wasn't, you know, yeah, we all know. Same thing with Malcolm X. But at the same time, these two guys were about uplifting people, not putting them down or trying to start some shit. Where's their coins? I can go on. Mega Evans. I can keep going on, y'all. Where are all these people coins? You know, they felt, oh, giving us the worst month and the shortest month throughout fucking humanity on Earth. They figure they're going to do us a favor by, oh, well, give the niggas the coldest month. You know, get them that 28-day bullshit in the worst fucking month that we have in the fucking calendar. That'll shut the niggas up. You know what I mean? Like, every fucking month is Black History Month, because let's face it, you know, when you guys stole the land from the natives and y'all basically kidnapped and brought my descendants, my ancestors, so to speak, over here, sold us like you would sell a bag of flour and a fucking carton of eggs. I mean, come on, how humiliating it is, how you guys know what the fuck I'm saying. I can't say it because of my tooth. But how it is to stand there and have another human stand up butt ass naked, men and women and children, and be sold like a goddamn chicken. And on top of that, they knew they were gonna slaughter hogs and chickens and goats and everything, and they still treated them with better humanity and decency than they did another human being just because of the color of their skin. So we all know that there are a lot of evil white people on this planet. Let's face it, you know, you're probably like, oh, there he go. No, I'm just calling it for what the fuck it is, man. I mean, you guys fucked up the oceans, you fucked up the atmosphere and everything. It wasn't us. I mean, yeah, we fuck up our own atmosphere in our communities by killing each other over the stupidest shit. And there's no excuse for that. But throughout history, you never seen us fucking creating ridiculous genocide or... Let's face it, you people aren't nationalists or natives anywhere. Anywhere. Now, a lot of great white folk died for black people to have what they have. I would never sit here and deny that. I would never sit here and say, oh, I hate all you crackers. Why would I say that? I don't hate, to be honest with you guys, there's a lot of groups of people I don't like, but I don't really hate anybody that don't hate me. I don't give a fuck what race you are, what's your last name. Like, for instance, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was always cool, and he said, yo, I was really cool with a lot of these white folks I grew up with, like teachers that are in my Facebook. I done been to their homes, this, that, and the third, and it's like, yo, like, you know, I feel really bad now. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? They said, yeah, I feel bad and fucked up now because I never knew that they felt the way they did, and for all these years, them teaching me and put me under their wing and everything, I no longer deal with them no more, because after I saw what they post about Charlie Kirk, I never realized that they wore a mask in front of me. And then another individual was like, yo, I thank Charlie, I thank him for his sacrifice or for what happened to him, because now I see people for what they are. Because when I look on social media, I see posts on them saying this, that, and the third, and I'm like, yo, the narrative on how they spin shit is crazy. So all this time they talking one way, and now since this white dude was killed in front of his family, it's horrible. But what about all the blacks that seen uncles and grandfathers and fathers and mothers be torn to pieces, raped and killed in front of their family? White folks are like, oh, y'all need to get over that. But they never sit there and tell the Jews to get over something that happened to them in Europe over almost 100 fucking years ago. And then when you look at Germany is like one of the most forgiving fucking countries on the face of the planet. And the fact that you have more interracial marriages in Germany than almost any other country. And they don't really go and they don't discriminate against people of different, different colored backgrounds. And he said the same thing in China. You go to China and a lot of countries, and they don't give a flying fuck. If you're there, they welcome Africans and other people over there. Yeah, you have your racists and your stereotypical people. That's everywhere. But at the same time, they welcome people. Unlike this country that's supposed to be the land of the free. Free of what? Free of, and it's like, yo, my people's broke a lot of shit down. And I'm like, yo, you right. You right. I mean, at the end of the day, again, you can't get mad at the messenger. Or you can't shoot the messenger for bringing a message. I'm just, I'm just, it's something I've been trying to speak about for a minute, but I don't like really talking about a lot of shit, especially with Charlie Kirk, because I don't know anything about him. I never came up here and made an ass of myself of not having the right knowledge on this and that. Anything I've spoken about politically or for whatever gain or reasons, I've always had my background on knowing shit. So this way I don't sound like a fucking idiot, because I hate people that come up here and do that. And I never spoke much on it because I didn't know anything about it. Like, did I sit back and listen to a lot of his speeches? Yes, I have. And I have to say that there are certain things he did say about different groups, including people that share my skin tone, that happen to be straight fact right. But, your message and delivery have a lot to do with the perception of spitting straight facts. Which a lot of his shit was more fictional than factual. You know what I mean? And, his delusion of grandeur is what cost him his life. That, and the fact that certain people decided to shut him up. I'm not going to sit here and say that this kid did or didn't orchestrate what he orchestrated. Like, look at Timothy McVeigh. Timothy McVeigh, he orchestrated what he thought he had to do. I mean, he was a smart man, and I'm going to tell all you one thing. One man can make a difference. I mean, you're going to be enemy to the state or whatever. Why do you think the government sat there and put Timothy McVeigh to death real quick? They didn't put him years and years and years on the death row. They put him on death row. They convicted him fast, and they put him in the ground fast. Why? Because he wasn't just an enemy of the state, but he attacked them. When in Waco, Texas, when the feds knew what the fuck they were doing, and they went in, and just to be arrogant assholes like they are, like the faggot ass piece of shit feds they are. Now I can sit here and say I hate government. I hate government with a passion. I mean, I hate them even more so than whoever did in Charlie Kirk. I have that straight up hatred for feds, for the government, period. I think it should be overthrown and destroyed and rebuilt back up by the people. Not by a whole bunch of racist asshole Neanderthals that run shit. And I'm putting that up here and I'm saying that. I don't give a fuck. I have the right to speak my mind. And anybody want it, bring it. I don't give a fuck how you feel about whatever, man. Do what the fuck you gotta do. I'm gonna do what the fuck I gotta do. I ain't gonna be one of them niggas that's gonna let you hang me from a fucking tree. That's for sure. You know what I'm saying? You come at me straight. I'm gonna come at you straight that way. We both gonna be in a goddamn metal drawer. It ain't gonna just be me. And you know what I'm saying? So with that basically being said, I think that there's certain agendas behind all this shit. I think that Charlie was a pawn, and he was quickly taken off the board. He was so arrogant that he thought that he was playing checkers. In reality, he was playing chess. You know what I'm saying? The minute you go up there and you politically try to gain shit and do shit the way you do shit, and and there's an agenda behind what you do, you gotta have certain backing. Just because you happen to be white, that don't mean shit if you don't have the right groups behind you. Because if he did, that probably would have never happened to him. But then again, maybe he was almost like a Malcolm X situation. Too big for his own bridges, and they just decided to end it. Because at the end of the day, the best way to deal with the devil is don't. And sometimes when you take that contract and you deal with the devil, and you get under the devil's radar and you deal with them, see, there's a difference when you are under their radar but you don't make a deal with them. You're going to be looked at, but are you really considered a threat? Now, if you go in their house and you sit there and you drink their water and eat their bread and you shake their hand, now you're a person that's, like we can't trust you. So now we got to get at you because we don't know how dangerous you are. And sometimes it's not even about what you say and how you say it, but it's what you say. And with him, I just think I personally think that it just ran with whatever it ran with. And I think they did what they did, and they're trying to use it to benefit them because he's a lamb. He's a sacrificial lamb that was sacrificed and to bring their agenda. And it's funny how a lot of white folks are now sitting here talking about white men, this and that. And it wasn't one of your own that killed one of your own who was spitting hatred and some David Duke shit. I kind of find that ironic, especially considering the fact that he's supposed to have died by a Caucasian hand who happens to be homosexual. I think there's more deeper meaning to that, but I'm not going to get into that because at the end of the day, again, I don't know. I don't like spitting or speaking narratives that I don't really know the facts on. I think his death is sad and tragic, but his message and what he was doing out here was even worse. I'm going to leave that as that. Peace.